today on our episode and on subsequent episodes, we are going to be talking about women.
Yes.
About breastfeeding, about how you prepare yourself so that you can have enough breast milk, and how you can have a relationship with your child as you're breastfeeding.
Yeah.
Or colostrum.
Yes.
Yeah. It's yellow, it's thick, and then that has more nutrients than even the mature
milk. That's
and
true.
And it prepares the babies.
Now, I don't know if you know how to breastfeed your child, but your child has to be positioned perfectly well, and so do you,
yes,
the mother. And so, how do you make sure that your child has latched onto your nipple perfectly?
Yeah.
Now, the mouth has to cover the areola. Now, when you take your nipple, you know that there's this darker area around your nipple.
Breast.
Mine is quite small, but some women actually have really wide areolas. So I don't mean for you with wide areolas that your child has to actually cover the whole thing, but for me, I expect that my child would cover it. And my child's lower lip has to be everted, not inverted.
So when you should be able to see the lip under the breast.
Exactly.
The child is suckling. So
and then when the child sucks, you actually hear the rhythm. There's a suckling rhythm, and then you hear your child gulping and gulping, and then you know that your child is really sucking well. If you hear a lot of air, your child isn't latched on properly.
And then you see bubbles.
You see bubbles too, and also your child will suffer from that air because your child will have gas. So latching on is actually very important. And so let's talk about the complications you can have when you're breastfeeding. They're a lot, but they're preventable.
They're preventable, definitely.
So if you have your nipple, your areola can be engorged. And how do we solve that?
You just have to breastfeed because it's engorged because there's a lot of breast milk in there. So you need to get it out there and get it out by putting it in your child's mouth.
Or you can actually pump. Sometimes you have to pump and breastfeed at the same time. Same thing goes for the breast enlargement, you know, and also the vessel enlargement. You have to feed your child
and
more.
bear in mind, it might be painful because it's like when you take your water hose and the pressure is too much in it, so you can just imagine that the veins would be enlarged and it's full of milk, so you will feel some pain, but the pain will go away once you've been able to breastfeed your child.
And also think about it as when you're on your period and your breast becomes full, it's so, you know, sensitive, you know, but it gets better. That one you can't take that away from suckling, but for you as a lactating mother, you can actually just breastfeed your child and you won't go through this. Women also have sore nipples.
Sore nipples. Some people can even have
cracks on the nipple, and that also has to do with the latching on. If your child is latching on properly, your child will not just it's not just sucking your nipple. Your child is actually squeezing your boobs to bring it out. But if your child is focused on the nipple, that's when it'll get sore,
and then
that's when
too much work. The child will be doing unnecessary work because there's a whole area of the breast and the milk is in the whole area.
Exactly, not just in the nipple. The nipple is just the outlet for the milk. The child has to compress the surrounding to bring out in large volumes of milk. And you know, if your child struggles to suck, he's going to get tired and not eat. So you see, this is a problem. So if you have sore nipples, you have to just make sure that your child is latched on properly. If it's cracked, you can actually get special ointments just to put around it for healing. Sometimes you can actually put a drop of milk after feeding. It dries and it also heals. Remember we said that this milk has a lot of things in it.
It has a lot of vitamins, it has a lot of minerals, and these are the things that you need for your healing.
You can also have what we call mastitis. That's when your breast is engorged and it actually becomes inflamed, so it's actually tender. That you need antibiotics for, but you cannot stop breastfeeding. You have to keep breastfeeding, even pumping as much as you can. And also you can have an abscess. And when that happens, you actually have to go for them to do an incision and drainage. You can't feed your child on that breast. You feed the child on the other breast. And also, what's your take on emptying the breast?
Yeah, because I mean, there's what we call the fore milk and then the hind milk. And when you don't breastfeed your child properly and empty the whole breast, the child just empties the fore milk and then you move on to the next breast. So you still have the hind milk there. and that also causes all the other complications that we've talked about. So you always need to empty the whole breast. Make sure that the breast is now comfortable and you can feel that it's lighter than it was before you move to the next breast.
Yes. So always empty your breast. And also, did you know that your neonates, that is your newborn, needs to be fed at least 8 to 12 times a day for the first week after birth?
Yes.
I know, so that's actually pivotal in the lactation, you know.
Exactly, because those days are very critical. First, the milk is better. It's critical for you as a new mother, because you're trying to lose all the weight and all the fat. So getting rid of that milk and helping your hormones work better is always key in your body weight.
And also it helps with the production of milk and the future production of milk.
Yes.
Most people say, I can't produce milk, my milk isn't coming.
That's because you didn't start breastfeeding early.
And so you're not breastfeeding a lot, you know.
You need to, your body, like we always say, your body is like a system, it's like a machine. You need to get your body in that space, and then the milk starts to come properly.
And the only way that your body will know is when your child sucks. Your child is actually the one making sure that you have your milk. So when your child sucks, oxytocin is released, and then the breast milk just keeps coming. The prolactin levels are already high because you are lactating. But for that letdown to come, your child has to suck, and the hormones have to be secreted. Sometimes when we notice that you're doing all the right things and the breast milk is still not coming, we as doctors can actually decide to give you some medications. We'll probably give you just for a few days. One of them is metoclopramide or domperidone, but they have some side effects, and we don't give it for a long time, and we only give it when we have to give it.
And then it will jumpstart your breast milk. But fortunately, if we follow all these things, we'll probably not have to have that problem.
But I know a couple of foods that they say in Ghana help to produce breast milk. They say groundnuts. You know that it's a corn. It's what's that called? Corn, basically, popcorn with the groundnuts in it. I hear that the groundnuts are very good to help you jumpstart your production of milk.
I don't know about that.
And then there's all this thing, we in Nigeria, we call it akiausa. I know I've seen it in Ghana. I don't know what it's called. It's small. It's like a milk fruit. When you chew it, it's milky inside.
And the only thing I think about is tiger nut.
That's maybe that is, I don't know. But yes, I know that there's that too helps with the production of breast milk.
Well, I don't know about all that, but what I know is that if you prepare yourself before you get pregnant, whilst you're pregnant and as you have your child, you should be prepared to breastfeed your child properly.
So I think we must have covered a lot of ground. You know, just take your time as a new mother. It can be frustrating. Your child can drive you crazy. But you know, the first few weeks are actually the worst, to be honest. But as you keep going, it gets easier, and then we'll see how we can help you the best we can.